Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Today's videos are completed sales and pricing video in CGC 9.8 comics that we like to do about every week, where we just look on the internet at completed sales and check out the prices. I always say the best thing you can do when you're buying these CGC 9.8 books is just stay on top of the prices, and then you're way less likely to overpay. So saw some really interesting prices on my research this morning, and even cooler, I got 4 books here that were sent in from the team. So 4 prices, from the team out there sending me their completed sales that they're seeing, or some books that they've purchased in this case, I'm pretty sure. So I got a full list of awesome key issues to get through here. And they're all CGC 9.8s. I'll have a full list in the description below, and all the prices we talk about will be in US dollars. Okay, first book here is from a team member out there, Brett, and getting in touch with me on Instagram, letting me know about some of his buys, actively buying these great CGC 9.8 comics. So he grabbed a New Mutants 98 in the newsstand for $705, which I think is a great price for the newsstand. It's more rare, so you're at least looking, I thought, at least $700 to $750 for that book. So to get it closer to $700, I think that's a great buy, and he sent me pictures, really nice colors and centering on it as well. The next book is a book that he had purchased as well, was an Incredible Hulk 340, and in a new case, this example that he had bought, he sent me pictures. It's literally perfect. It's a perfect example, amazing colors, perfectly centered. No pages sticking out the side. The signature is really prominent on the spine. Centering is perfect. So he paid $427 for a perfect Incredible Hulk 340, which I think will be, a great buy, if you're thinking long term. So thanks to Brett for sending me those prices. Also, Dave out there on the team bought a Spawn number 301. And he had purchased the Amazing Spider-Man 301 homage version of that. And I kind of recommended in a video that I think that's the 301 to get, basically, is the homage, the Amazing Spider-Man 301 homage version of it, because there's a bunch of different variants for 301, being that that's the Spawn record-breaking issue for a kind of independent series going over 301 issues, or at 301 was the record. He had purchased this book for $60, and I think in an auction on our last video, one went for like 62 or something like that. So, that's kind of the going rate fair price for that book. And again, I think that's the Spawn 301 to get. So thanks to Dave for sending me that. And also on Instagram, Alamo City Collectibles. He had purchased a Batman 423 a couple weeks ago now, but I forgot to mention his name for sending me the completed listing. But he grabbed a Batman 423, really nice one, for $404. And I kind of referenced that price in some of our videos where I brought out a Batman 423. So yeah, a little over $400 for a really nice Batman 423 is a fair value, and I think that's a great book. Okay, so thanks to all the team out there sending me those prices, and definitely. I got the link in the description below. Get at me on Instagram if you purchased a new CGC 9.8 or if you're just seeing some prices out there or whatever it might be. Next book here is Venom number 3, the first appearance of Knull, who's like the god of the symbiotes, and this is a newer book from sort of Venom with Donny Cates doing the story and Ryan Stegman with art. This one went for $115 in the CGC 9.8 blue label. And doing a little bit of pricing research, that is pretty much a fair market value, even to the lower part of fair market value, I think. You see a couple of those go for over $130, $140 at times. So $115 for first Knull Venom number 3, not too bad. Next book's here, Ultimate Fallout number 4, and I brought mine out here, and we talked about it on our last video for comic books guaranteed to go up in value, CGC 9.8s. So a couple had sold last week. One was $355, and the other one was $367. And I think I paid like $357 for mine or whatever it was. So I think, these books sort of went for the fair market value. If you're patient and wait for an auction, that's kind of the price you're looking at. These had really good pictures, these auctions, so, you could probably get it closer to $300 if maybe the pictures weren't looking as good and the auction was from, maybe a seller that wasn't very popular or something like that. But nonetheless, a book I would recommend. First, Miles Morales, iconic first appearance. Spider-Man, so iconic, and you know, it's a modern book, and it compares well to its modern sort of comparable books in the Marvel comparables. We did that on our guaranteed to go up in value video too, so check that out for the compares. But a book I would recommend, and if you can get it around $350, that's a fair price. Closer to $300, awesome price. I would totally recommend. Next book, Avengers 684. It's the first Immortal Hulk, when Hulk gets his immortal powers. Pretty cool modern book. There's a lot of them on the census, so I wouldn't really think of this as like an investment grade book, like it's going to go up in value or anything like that. But $100 one sold for, Avengers 684. I think that's a fair price for sure. And, you know, a modern book that is actually like a really cool modern book that's affordable if you're into modern books, and certainly if you're into the Hulk. So a really interesting price I saw, and you know, kind of illustrates some of the things we talk about here. A Killing Joke in the first print, which is a book that I have here in the CGC 9.8, sold for $270 last week. That is the highest price I've ever seen for a Killing Joke go for in the CGC 9.8, the first print. A lot of these in an auction sort of go for like $175. 170, 180, sometimes $199.99 or buy it nows, where someone, you know, just wants to sell. Those will sell, you know, pretty quickly usually if it's a really nice new case. Killing Joke for $199.99, but $270, you know, directly relates to, I think, Joker coming out on, you know, digital and Blu-ray now, and certainly more people are seeing the movie than, you know, ever before, because, you know, the people I saw in the theater were probably like pretty serious, and with the Oscar buzz and the Golden Globe buzz for Joker. So going for $270, that's, you know, one where there's so many on the census. I'm pretty sure it's like 3,000-ish, maybe even more. Forget the exact, I have to double check, but a lot on the census. So for that one, you can be so patient on that one. There's always going to be supply popping up on eBay of that book in an auction where you can get it for like $175. So, you know, you might have to be maybe patient for a month or two here while the Oscar buzz or whatever it is kind of calms down. But, you know, I'd look to get this book under $200 easy, not at $270, which it went for last week. But kind of, you know, you like to kind of see those prices sometimes of a book that you have. So that was cool. Next book here is a really cool one. X-Men Origins Deadpool #1. This is a book I've looked to kind of purchase in the past. And this is a really cool book right now that is a modern book. It's a bit underfollowed, you know, not really an obvious book, but with X-Men and Deadpool coming back to the MCU, this is one that fits right into that, you know, maybe if you really like them anyway, you could buy this book, and who knows if an X-Men Deadpool type movie comes out. But X-Men Origins, Deadpool #1, sold for $94.99. And I think that's a pretty good price to get for this book in the CGC 9.8 white pages. You don't see them like too often. It retells the origin of Deadpool. And yeah, really cool cover. And again, you know, one that I think if you like Deadpool, you could easily grab this one. Certainly, I think under $100 is a pretty good price. And who knows what'll happen with those movie books. But yeah, that's a really cool underfollowed one that I saw on my research this morning, and I'm like, ooh, you know, kind of getting certainly a wantable book, I think. Yeah, X-Men Origins Deadpool #1, going for $94.99. Next book, pretty cool one, Silver Surfer Limited Series #1, cool Galactus cover, Silver Surfer cover. CGC 9.8 one sold for $179.89. It was the exact there. Yeah, really cool Silver Surfer book. That's pretty affordable, I think. A good one to grab. Next book is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles '95. Cover A. This is Jennika becomes a Ninja Turtle in this book. This one was signed and sketched by Kevin Eastman. So you know, he kind of does the con circuit quite often, so you see quite a few of these signed and sketched. But you know, Jennika has her new series now coming out, so kind of was interested to see how much this book went for, and it went for $161. Yeah, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles '95, cover A, signed and sketched by Kevin Eastman, $161. And I had saw that in an auction, like the exact same book, sort of before all these Jennika whispers came out, go for like $135-ish, I think it was, if it rings a bell. That rings a bell. So yeah, adding on a couple bucks there, going up to $161. A cool book. I still think at $161 for Jennika becoming a Ninja Turtle in the first print. signed and sketched by the creator. That's pretty great. That's a cool book. Next book here is I saw Batman 612, the sketch version of it though. So this is a Superman Batman cover by Jim Lee. It's a second print, which is a sketch variant, which has become the kind of one to get for collectors. It's a little more rare, and even though it's a second print, it's become more expensive than the first kind of print with color. So one in an old case, in an auction, I saw one go for $81. And I think if you're on a budget and you really like Batman and Superman, Jim Lee Batman is awesome. It's Jim Lee and Scott Williams team up on the cover too, I believe. Yeah, definitely a cool one to get for $81, I think. Yeah, if you're looking for kind of affordable Batman books, that could be one to think about. Saw an Uncanny X-Men 266. This is one I kind of recommended as an honorable mention in the guaranteed to go up in value video. First full Gambit, one sold for $305 in a new case. And I mentioned in that video, if you can get it like close to $300, and occasionally I see an Uncanny X-Men 266 and the CGC 9.8 go for close to $300, which it did last week. I think that's a really good buy. Like around $300 is what I recommended in the guaranteed to go up in value book. Because I've seen these go for like $350 and even $400 in auctions, close to $400. So yeah, kind of some evidence of the sort of lull in the comic book market right now is that book. Certainly the 90s books, I think, are pretty susceptible to the lull because early 90s books were so well printed. There's a lot of CGC 9.8s out there. Next book, Amazing Spider-Man 265. A little bit more of an underfollowed key issue in Amazing Spider-Man. Its first Silver Sable. The newsstand version of that book sold for $229.99. And I'm pretty sure in the direct version I saw that sort of go for close to $150. So yeah, this is just, it was a really good looking one with good colors in the newsstand. So I mean, if you're a Silver Sable fan, then I wouldn't mind, you know, paying maybe $20 or $30 just to get it right away. Because yeah, more rare newsstand, so you'd have to be patient to really find that one probably. Next book that I saw sell was X-Men #4. So from the early 90s, first Omega Red, this book. You see a lot of them in the CGC 9.8. One sold for $100 even. And that's kind of the price I would look to pay for this book. Sometimes you see ones go for like $110 or $120. But there's tons of these out there. So yeah, just be patient on this one, and you can, yeah, I would say 100 is toward the low end, though, of fair market value. You kind of see them go for like, yeah, 110, 120, 130 sometimes. Amazing Spider-Man 361, first full appearance Carnage, a book that I recommend as, like, I think it's like the classic 90s cover, which is so cool. First full appearance Carnage cover by Mark Bagley. So, yeah, some interesting kind of prices. A good sort of example of the range of prices. Because in a direct version, that one that wasn't really centered very well at all, so it kind of had the back cover showing, not very centered, but still 9.8 white pages. In the direct version, sold for $341.99. And saw a newsstand version that wasn't really well, you know, centered as well. I recommend to kind of be picky on centering with this issue because there's over 3,000 of them in the CGC 9.8, so you know, it's one where there'll probably always be new books popping up for auction and things like that. So I recommend to be picky on the centering for first Carnage. But one that wasn't very centered in the newsstand also went for $425. And that's, I've been seeing that, you know, that's a sort of a normal price. You see that go for a Carnage $425 newsstand quite often. And yeah, one of our team members, it was Brett too, grabbed this book for, I think it was $300 or maybe $320. In the newsstand, first full appearance of Carnage, very well centered. So for $320, he grabbed that, and basically one not well centered went for $425 last week. So good for him. Next book I saw was Savage She-Hulk #1, Origin, first appearance of She-Hulk. One sold for $403.95, and yeah, this is a book off that Disney Plus announcement. It shot up to $550. Saw like 10 sell for $550 on that week. And then now it's been kind of, you know, coming back down to sort of where it originally was at $350, I would say, was before that announcement was the fair market value. So kind of, you know, bounced up to $550. Now the promo from that announcement is kind of in the lull stage, so it's back down to $403.95 this one. Last week one went for $425, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, just a bit over $400. Next book here I saw was Infinity Gauntlet #1. It's a George Perez cover. That's sort of a mini-series of Infinity Gauntlet, kind of sort of related to the movies that had come out. One of those saw in the CGC 9.8 sell for $110. And that's a pretty good price. I think those heated up during the movies and things like that. I think they were pushing almost $200 during some of these Avengers movies. But cool cover, and I'd probably recommend Silver Surfer 44 over this. Just as cool of a cover and first appearance of the Infinity Gauntlet ever. And that would be like $40 more than this, $40 or $50 more than 110. About 150, 160 for that in the CGC 9.8 if you're patient. But yeah, cool book anyway. Infinity Gauntlet #1 for 110. Last book here on the list is I saw What If #1 from 1977. So the first What If, from the original What If series, #1. Pretty cool book, I thought. Go in the CGC 9.8 white pages for $277.77, and it was in an auction too. So pretty, I would think, kind of a fair gauge of the value of that book. Yeah, What If #1. It's got like Spidey and Fantastic Four on the cover. Yeah, pretty cool classic book. Especially, I think that's a good buy, especially with a Disney Plus series. I'm pretty sure of What If coming out. I think I remember from the Phase 4 announcement. Alright, that's the last book for this week. So, yeah, some cool key issues. Killing Joke going for a lot of money, $270, never saw that before. Certainly first Carnage kind of staying strong. A newsstand version going for $425. Yeah, $355 and $367 for Ultimate Fallout 4. So yeah, about $350 I think is kind of the fair value for an Ultimate Fallout 4, which is a book I totally recommend. Yeah, first new Spider-Man Miles Morales. Alright, if you haven't already, I invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8 and hit the bell, get all our latest notifications. Still at the early stages here, so kind of want to get all the subs we can get. And yes, add me on Instagram too. Got all the links in the description below for all that stuff. But yeah, you know what I always say, the best thing to kind of do is stay on top of these prices. We kind of do one of these pricing videos about once or, a couple times a month now at this point. I was doing it once a week, but I felt like it was a bit too much. So a couple times a month we'll call it. And yeah, you just stay on top of the prices. The current market prices for the book. So then when you see someone trying to get those high retail prices online, you just kind of know that that's expensive because I saw this book sell for these, and like the prices once you get to I know the prices certainly after doing these videos for about 5 or 6 months, just getting this list every week or two. So yeah, so helpful to be knowledgeable about the prices, and you're way less likely to overpay for, a lot of these awesome CGC 9.8 books. That's going to be it for this video, though. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, I always love these pricing videos and kind of getting some of the factual information out there and sticking to some of the facts. So. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.